Now let us start our journey in BCBR. We will look after the MCQs. To start with the first chapter, Introduction to Health Research, let us see the first question. Which of the following areas can be included in health research? The statements they gave are 1. Improving the health of the population. B. The second statement, predicting the progression of a disease in a patient. 3. Prevention of various diseases. And 4 is to explore various societal, community-based and programmatic interventions for disease prevention and control. So among the 4 statements which can be included in the health research. So the options they gave are, number A option is both first statement and second statement. The B option is first, second and fourth statement, or otherwise C option stating like all the statements are correct. So what is the answer for this question? You pause for some time, for few seconds, and just for 5 seconds, and then answer this question. Now the answer for this question is C. That is, all of the above statements are correct. Improving the health of the population is a correct statement. Predicting the progression of a disease in a patient is correct statement. Prevention of various diseases is also a correct statement. And also to explore various societal, community-based and programmatic interventions for disease prevention control. So these are all the areas which are included in health research. Now let us see the next question. What is appropriate for sample and sample size? The options they gave are A. It should be a representative of the population, or B. It should be adequate, or option number C. Both A and B are correct, or otherwise D. Neither A nor B are correct. So the answer for this question is, what is appropriate for sample and sample size? So it should be a representative of the population. Yes, this is a correct statement. Second is, it should be adequate. That is, it should have a power to draw some meaningful inferences. So the option number C, that is both A and B are correct. Now see the information given in this chart. It speaks regarding some of the critical considerations in a planning phase. Among the statements given over here, see the last statement regarding the samples and the sample size. They have mentioned that the sample and sample size should be a representative of the population, and also that they should be adequate. Now the sample size to the sample to be representative of the population is called as external validity or a generalizability, and it should be, the second point is that it should be adequate. That means that it should have the power to draw some meaningful inferences. So therefore these two statements are correct statements. So therefore from our question, this what is appropriate, they have asked sample and sample size. So both these sentences are correct statement. Now let us go to the next question. Which of the following statements are correct regarding defining the inclusion and exclusion criteria in a study protocol? Now the options they gave are A. They should be vague because this will allow greater and easy enrollment. B. They should be very specific. C. They should be very large in numbers. Or D. It is important to define exclusion criteria in a clinical trial. So the answer for this question is that it is B. Okay, so which of the following statements are correct regarding defining the inclusion and the exclusion criteria in a study protocol? So let us see the options again. They should be vague. Is it possible to put a vague inclusion exclusions? No, this is not possible. Now they should be very specific. Yes, this should be happening when you are doing the exercise of inclusion and exclusion criteria. Third option, they should be very large in number, not required. A minimum sample of 30 is sufficient to complete a study. Then fourth is, it is important to define exclusion criteria in clinical trial. It is not important to define exclusion criteria. Okay. Now let us see the next question. Which of the following are examined as a part of a regulatory review? The options they gave are A. Information regarding the transfer of funds and utilization of funds. B. Shipment of samples and transfer of data outside the country. Or option number C. Sharing and protection of intellectual property. Or option number D. All of the above. So what are all the examined as a part of regulatory review? So the answer for this question is option number D, that is all of the above. Now let us see the three statements. First one, information regarding the transfer of funds and utilization of funds is seen by the regulatory review. Yes, correct. Second is shipment of samples and transfer of data outside the country. Yes, even this is done. Third one is sharing and protection of the intellectual property. Yes, even this is done. See the information given in this chart. It speaks regarding three levels of review which are essential. One is the scientific review, second is the ethics review, third one is the regulatory review. Scientific, ethical and regulatory review. Now see in the third part of the regulatory review, it is concerned with foreign funding, with sample shipment, with intellectual properties and with exchange of visitors. We have to also remember that the ethical review or the ethical committee is concerned with human subject protection. Human subject protection, what is ethical committee? It itself is a big topic. In coming chapters, we will come to know regarding ethical review and ethics. Then scientific review is concerned with the novelty, rationality and justification. So as far as our question is concerned, they have asked us what was a part of the regulatory review. So all these three options are available over here. Okay, so please I request all the students or people who are appearing for the examination to remember this chart and the contents of this chart. Now let us see the next question. Which of the following statements is not true in case of pilot study? The options they gave are A. They are conducted for developing and testing the adequacy of research instruments. B. They establish whether the sampling frame and techniques are effective. C. Ethics committee approves the main study only after successful completion of the pilot study. Or D. They are all small scale studies. So which of the following statements is not true in case of pilot study? That means among the four statements what they gave, one statement is wrong, but otherwise the rest of the statements are correct. So let us see the statements again. They are conducted for developing and testing the adequacy of research instruments. Yes, this is a true statement in a pilot study. Second one, they establish whether the sampling frame and technique are effective. Yes, even this is correct. Then the third one, ethics committee approves the main study only after successful. This is not acceptable. This is not correct. Only after successful completion of the pilot study. No, this is a wrong statement. And fourth one, they are all small scale studies. Yes, even this is a correct statement. So we got the answer for this question. Let us see the next question. Before initiating a study involving the primary data collection, the principal investigator must ensure that various approvals are obtained. So which of the following approval is absolutely mandatory? The options they gave are A. Scientific committee approval, B. Ethical committee approval, C. Technical committee approval, or D. The regulatory authority approval. So which of the following approvals is absolutely mandatory is the sense they have asked. So the answer for this question is B. Ethical committee approval is absolutely mandatory. Next question. Which is the better source of information on effect modifiers while exploring the cause and effect relationship in a research study? So the options are A. Deductive thinking, B. Thorough review of the literature, C. Intelligent guessing, or D. Discussing with the experienced researchers. So which is the best source of information on the effect modifiers? The answer for this question is B. That is thorough review of the literature is the best source of information on effect modifiers. Please remember this question. Now, the next question. The policymakers want to know whether the introduction of pentavalent vaccine in a national program is resulting in reduction in the number of hemophilus cases. So which of the following studies will they have to conduct to find an answer for this question? The options are A. Case control study, B. Field trials, C. Ecological study, or D. Case series. So the answer for this question is, it is very easy, that is field trial. Okay, so the option number D, that is case series, is not acceptable over here. Case control study will be for all those involving retrospective studies, and ecological study is not the answer for this question. So therefore field trial will definitely fit, and they have to conduct such type field trial type of study whenever they are introducing pentavalent vaccine. Next question. What is true about confounders? The options are A. They affect both the study variable as well as outcome. B. Their effect can be minimized by proper study design and through the stratified analysis. So, or option number C, A and B are correct. Or D, none of the above. Now, the answer for this question is option number C, that is both A and B are correct. Now, let us see what is the A option and what is the B option. A is that true about confounders is that they affect both the study variables as well as outcomes. And option number B, their effect can be minimized by proper study design and through stratified analysis. Please remember this point. Through proper study design and through stratified analysis, you can decrease the effect of confounders. See the information given in this chart. It speaks both regarding the confounders and also the effect modifiers. So why are both these terms, that is confounders and effect modifiers, are important? Because they speak regarding a relationship between variables and also the outcomes. So these two are both most important. Now in our question they have asked regarding what was true about confounders. From the information given in this chart, it is clearly mentioned that confounders affect both the study variables as well as the outcomes. And the effect of compounders, this point, the asterisk point, what I am putting. Now, the effect of these confounders can be minimized by proper study design and through stratified analysis. From our question itself, it is clearly mentioned. See the first point, that is the A option. They affect both the study variables as well as the outcomes, as mentioned in the first point of the confounders. And secondly, that the second option, that their effect can be minimized by proper study design and through stratified analysis. So this is also been given over here. The effect of confounders can be minimized by proper study design and through stratified analysis. I request all the students to become perfect with the information given in this chart, because there are questions. Just now we have seen the question regarding the confounders. You may also come across question pertaining to effect modifiers. Okay, so please remember this chart, the question and also the answer for this question. Next question. Which of the following is not a type of study design? It is not a study design. Okay, the options are A, qualitative study, B, observational study, C, retrospective study, or D, pilot study. The answer for this question is, it is easy. It is pilot study. Pilot study is not a type of study design. But the other three, that is qualitative design, observational design and retrospective, are a type of study designs. Now see the information given in this chart. It is speaking regarding a pilot study. What is a pilot study? Pilot study is not a type of study design. It is not a type of study design. The first statement itself has been taken as a question over here, that which of the following is not a type of study design, and among the options pilot study was mentioned. So we have taken pilot study as the answer. A few points regarding the pilot study, that it is not a type of study design, the first statement itself. Then what is it? It is rather a preliminary study that is conducted before a major research project. Okay, so even this may be asked as a question. What is the purpose of a pilot study? Because pilot study is a small scale study that helps inform and guide a full scale study, and it is also known as a feasible study. What is the goal of a pilot study? Purpose of the pilot study is that to test and improve the research processes, identify important aspects and anticipate problems. What are the benefits of pilot study? Pilot studies can help researchers to discover the problems before the actual study, determine if proposed methods or instruments are adequate, and convince funding bodies that the main study is worth funding. Finally, it improves the research process and increases the likelihood of success of the main study. So, as far as our question is concerned, they have asked which of the following is not a type of study design. Qualitative study design, observational and retrospective, all are one few types of study designs except the pilot study. So remember this chart, the question and the answer for this question. Next, any systematic error in the design, conduct or analysis of a study that results in an erroneous estimate of an exposure's effect on the risk of a disease is called as what? The options they gave are A, confoundings, B, bias, C, interaction, or D, stratification. Now, this is actually a definition of bias. And so the answer for this question is basically bias. Let us see the definition of bias. It is any systematic error in the design, conduct or analysis of a study that results in an erroneous estimate of an exposure's effect on the risk of a disease. So this is bias. Now, let us see the next question. Which of the following is not a part of ethics review of a project? Okay. So the options they gave are A. Informed consent, documents and procedure. B. Competence of the researcher and institute conducting the research. Or option number C. Sharing and protection of intellectual property. Or D. Care and support during and after the completion of the research. So, which is not a part of a ethics review of a project. Okay. So the answer for this question is what? It is number C. That is, sharing and protection of intellectual property is not a part of ethics review. Informed consent, documentation and procedure, documentation regarding the procedure, yes, it is a part of ethics. Competence of the researcher and institute conducting the research, yes, even it is a part of ethics. Care and support during and after the completion of the research is also a part of the ethics project. The next question. A study was conducted to assess the extrapyramidal side effects of a new antipsychotic drug in patients with schizophrenia. Many of these patients were smokers and some of them were on anticholinergic drugs. So what was the role of the anticholinergic drugs in this study? The options they gave are A. Confounders, B. Random variable, C. Effect modifiers, or D. Independent variable. So the answer for this question is that it is effect modifiers. Okay. When a study was conducted to assess the extrapyramidal effects of a new antipsychotic drug in schizophrenia, many of the patients were smokers and some of them were on anticholinergic drugs. So the role of anticholinergic drugs is effect modifier. Now let us see the 14th question. What does informed consent in a health research involve? The options they gave are A. That the participants must be given all the details about the study before agreeing to participate, or B. Researchers must agree to publish the results, or C. Participants must be compensated for their time, or D. Researchers must ensure that the participants have prior research experience. So what does informed consent mean? Among the options given, option number A, that is, the participants must be given all the details about the study before agreeing to participate, is the correct answer, and this is what is called as informed consent. Coming to the next question, the policymakers want to know whether the introduction of a new rotavirus vaccine in National Immunization Program is resulting in reduction of morbidity and mortality from the rotavirus disease. So which of the following studies will they have to conduct to find an answer for this? The options are A. Case control study, B. Ecological study, C. Is field randomized trial, or D. Case series. So the answer for this question is or field trials. Previously we have seen a similar type of question where they have spoken regarding introduction of Haemophilus vaccine inside the national program, and the answer over there was also field trials. Oh, so in this question also the answer is field trials. Now let us go to the next question. Which what does what effect does increasing the sample size have upon the random errors? The options are A. It increases the random error, B. It has no effect on the random error, C. It reduces the random error, or D. None of the above. So what will happen to the random error if you are increasing the sample size? The answer is very simple. It is decreasing the random error. It reduces the random error. Now see the information given in this chart. It speaks regarding random error and it also speaks regarding systematic error. Now in our question, they have asked what effect does the increasing the sample size have upon the random error, and we have taken the answer that it reduces the random error by increasing the sample size. Now see, in this chart, in the random error component, it is clearly mentioned over here, the star, what I am showcasing, that the random error can be minimized by increasing the sample size and also increasing the precision. So this was our question. This is also a question which was asked some time back. So please remember, that random error can be minimized by increasing the sample size. This question, random error can be minimized by increasing the sample size, has been asked n number of times, multiple times. It should be, this blanket statement should be on your fingertips. Random error can be minimized by increasing the sample size. This is the statement which has to be remembered forever and ever and ever. Now, we will go speak also regarding the systematic error, because even this has been asked as a question. How can you decrease the systematic error? Systematic error can be minimized by improving the study design. So this was one question, and this is also one question. From this chart, I request the students to become perfect with this chart. How to decrease the random error, how to decrease the systematic error should be on your fingertips. More specifically, how to decrease the random error just by increasing the sample size and increasing the precision. Please remember this chart, the question, and also the answer for this question. Now, next question. Which of the following will best describe the scientific inquiry that seeks to understand the acceptability and functionality of a health program? The options are A. Basic science research, B. Translational research, C is clinical research, or D is implementation research. So, which of the following will best describe the scientific inquiry that seeks to understand the acceptability and functionality of a health program? Among the options, the answer is D. Implementation research. Next question. Which of the following statements describe the confounding and the effect modification? So, which of the statements is or are correct? Let us see the statements. A. In a study of relationship between coffee drinking and oropharyngeal cancer, smoking is a confounder. Or B. In a study to explore the relationship between hepatitis B and post-infection hepatic sequelae, the habit of alcohol drinking acts as an effect modifier, and patients with this habit may be excluded from the study. So, what is option number C? That both A and B are correct. Or what is option number D? That both A and B are wrong. So, the answer for this question is C, that is both A and B are correct. That is, in a study of relationship between coffee and oropharyngeal cancer, smoking will act as a confounder. And in a study which explores the between hepatitis and post-infection hepatic sequelae, the habit of alcoholic drinking acts as a effect modifiers, and patient with this habit may be excluded from the study. Next question. Issues regarding the shipment of samples and transfer of data outside the country are examined by what committee? The options are A. Regulatory review, B. Ethics review, C. Scientific review, or D. None of the above. The answer is very simple. It is a regulatory review. See the information given in this chart. It speaks regarding three levels of review which are essential. One is the scientific review, second is the ethics review, third one is the regulatory review. Scientific, ethical, and regulatory review. Now see in the third part of the regulatory review, it is concerned with foreign funding, with sample shipment, with intellectual properties, and with exchange of visitors. We have to also remember that the ethical review or the ethical committee is concerned with human subject protection. Human subject protection, what is ethical committee? It itself is a big topic. In coming chapters, we will come to know regarding ethical review and ethics. Then scientific review is concerned with the novelty, rationality, and justification. Next question. Which of the following disciplines contribute to health research? The options are A. Biomedical research, B. Biostatistics, C. Social science research, or D. All of the above. The answer is D. All of the above. Okay, biomedical research, biostatistics, and social science research, all of them contribute to health research. Next question. Which of the following best describes a study done in the laboratory setting using animals? The options are A. Translational research, B. Bench-based research, C. Theoretical research, or D. Preventive research. Whenever you are using a laboratory type of setting and you are using on the animals, laboratory research on the animals, then it is a bench-based research. Please remember this point. How will you remember? See, in the lab, you will be having benches, and over the bench, you will put the animals. Simple, you remember in this way. Very crude way of remembering, but this is the way to answer this question in the examination. Few more words regarding the bench-based research. Bench-based research is also known as a fundamental or a basic science research. Okay, fundamental or a basic science research. This is that type of scientific study or scientific research that is conducted in a laboratory setting. In the laboratory setting. So what will happen with the, what will be the setting type? Setting will be like it is with lab benches, sinks, hoods, microscopes and other lab equipments. So, and what does it involve? It involves biological specimens such as animals, tissues, cells, bacteria or viruses. The goal is what? The goal of the bench-based research is to improve the health and ability. So you have to remember that bench-based research is also known as fundamental or basic science research. You have to remember the settings, you have to remember what does it involve, and you have to remember the goals. Please remember this question and also the answer for this question. Next question. Which of the following review is not essential before initiating a clinical trial? The options are A. Scientific review, B. Peer review, C is regulatory review, or D is ethical review. So what is not essential before you are initiating a clinical trial? Peer review is not at all required. Scientific review, regulatory review and ethical committee approval are all required before you are starting a clinical trial. Now see this chart pertaining to the fundamental principles to be followed in a research. These are the fundamental principles. In it, it is clearly mentioned regarding the three levels of review which are essential. They are number 1 scientific review, number 2 ethics review and number 3 the regulatory review. Scientific, ethics and then regulatory review. Each has got its own functions to be done. From our question, they have mentioned regarding the scientific review as an option, regulatory review as another option and ethics review as another option. But they have not mentioned regarding the peer review. So therefore, what is not essential from the options itself, it is understood that peer review is not essential before initiating a clinical trial because it is not mentioned as an essential. So the essential ones are the scientific review, ethical review and regulatory review. So please remember this chart, the question and also the answer for this question. Next question. Which of the following is not a type of study design? This question has come for the second time, I think. The options are A. Qualitative study, B. Observational study, C is retrospective study and D is translational study. So the answer for this question is D. Translational study. In the previous question, when this question was asked, previous questions, the option was given as pilot study, if you can remember. Or please go back and review the questions once again. You will find this option which is not a type of study design. Let us see the next question. Which of the following statements is not correct regarding the errors in health research? The options they gave are A. Random error is due to a chance, B. Systematic error is due to a bias, or C. Random errors can be eliminated by improving the study design, or D. A bias distorts the study results in one direction. So what is the answer for this question? So the answer for this question is C. Random errors can be eliminated by improving the study design. Now see over here. We took this answer. Now see this small explanation. Random error is due to a chance. Okay. Whereas systematic error is due to a bias. Okay. So these two statements are correct. Random error can be minimized by increasing the sample size and by increasing the precision. Please remember this point. This is a question which has been asked previously also. Whereas systematic error can be minimized by improving the study design. Please remember this point. Systematic error can be minimized by improving the study design, whereas random error can be minimized by increasing the sample size and by increasing the precision. Now let us see the next question. State whether true or false. Assigning roles and responsibilities to the team members is one of the fundamental principles of a research. Is it a true statement or a false statement? It is definitely a true statement. Next question. Health research is usually focused on which of the following areas? The options are A. Estimation of disease burden in a population, B. Prevention of common diseases in the community, C is evaluation of the public health problems, or D, all of the above. So health research is usually focused on all the above. Estimation of disease burden in a population, prevention of the common diseases in community, and evaluation of public health problems. Then next question. Which of the following is not a component of the research study? Not a component. Options are A, setting up the institute scientific committee, B, calculating the sample size, C, development of a study tool, or D, framing the research question. So, which is not a component of a research study? Setting up the institute's scientific committee is not a component of the research study. Calculating sample size, development of a study tool, and framing the research question all are components of a research study. Next question. A researcher wants to study the relationship between COVID-19 infection in pregnancy and birth weight. Currently, there is no evidence on this topic. So, which of the following options is the scope of this health research? The options are A, verifying and confirming the known information, B, getting additional or new informations, C is evaluating the ongoing programs, or D, all of the above. So currently, as there is no evidence on this topic, which of the following options is the scope? Okay, so among the options, let us see. Verifying and confirming the known information? No. Getting additional or new information? Yes. Evaluating the ongoing programs? No. So as far as if this question is asked again in the examination, you have to put getting additional or new information is the answer for this question. Next question. Which of the following is not a critical consideration in planning a health research? The options are A, adequate justification, B, clear and focused research question, C is the standard case definition, and D is the financial gains. So which is not a critical consideration? So whenever you are doing health research, you should not think of financial gain. Rest of the things you can think adequate justification, clear and focused research question, standard case definitions, but not the financial gain. Next question. Identify the correct statement about implementation of a research. The options are A, research findings must be approved by the funder, B, research finding must be error free, C, adequate sample size is a prerequisite, or D, pilot study can be done using data analysis stage. So what is correct statement? If this question is asked in the examination, the answer for this question will be this one, option number C, that is adequate sample size is a prerequisite. Let us see the next question. Which of the following is a part of ethics review? The options are A, novelty and rationality, B, justification, C is human subjects protection, or D, foreign funding and sample shipment. So which is a part of ethics? So ethical committee will always think about the human subjects protection. You have to please keep this in mind. Now see the information given in this chart, which shows regarding the fundamental principles to be followed in a research. Three levels of review which are essential. We have seen this previously also. They are number one, scientific review, ethical review, and regulatory review. In our question, they have asked that which of the following is a part of ethical review, and we have taken human subject protection as the answer. See over here. The second one, in the ethical review, human subject protection is an important component. So this is the answer for our question. The other options, novelty, rationality, and justification, all these three comes under the scientific review. Please remember this point because this has been asked as a question. This is our question, and even this component has been asked previously as a question. See the last option, foreign funding and sample. Foreign funding and sample shipment, they all come under the regulatory review. So this chart cannot be forgotten. This has to be by-hearted very thoroughly because one question can be invariably asked from this chart. So please remember this chart, this question, and also the answer for this question. Next question. What type of research study examines the effectiveness of an intervention by comparing it with a placebo or a standard treatment? When you are comparing with a placebo or a standard treatment, the options are A, cross-sectional study, B, cohort study, C. RCT, that is randomized control trial, or D is case control study. So what is the answer for this question? And the answer for this question is C. Randomized control trial. Next question. Which of the following statements regarding random error is false? The options are A. It can be minimized by increasing the sample size. B. It signifies wrong result due to bias. Increasing the precision minimizes the random error. Or D. Unknown sources of variation and distorting findings. So which is a false statement? The answer is B. It signifies wrong result due to bias. Wrong result due to bias is not a random error. It is systematic error. Okay. Please remember this point. Now, we'll go to the next question. Which of the following is a key characteristics of a well-designed research study? The options are A. Lack of control groups. B. Randomization. C is the high cost. Or D is the small sample size. So which is a key characteristic of a well-designed research study? The answer is randomization. Randomization is the key. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is an example of a qualitative research method? The options are A. Surveys with numerical responses. B. Laboratory experiments with precise measurements. C. In-depth interviews exploring the participants' experiences. Or D. Statistical analysis of clinical trial data. So for a qualitative research method, what is important is there should be an in-depth interviews exploring the participants' experiences. Next question. What is peer review in the context of a health research publication? The options they gave are A. The process of reviewing the study protocols before conducting a research. B. The evaluation of research findings by experts in the field before publication. C is the assessment of a researcher's qualifications. Or D. The review of financial aspects of a research product. So what is a peer review? Now the answer for this question is B, that is the evaluation of research findings by experts in the field before publication. It is called as peer review. Please remember this point. Then next question. What is external validity in the context of a research study? The options are A. The accuracy of studies measurement tools. B. The generalizability of the study findings to other settings or populations. C is the internal consistency of the study results. D. The precision of the statistical analysis used. So what is the answer for this question? External validity in the context of a research study is the generalizability of the study findings to the other findings or population. To the other settings or populations is the option. Okay. Now, next question. Systematic error can be minimized by what? We have seen this before. It is easy. The options are A. Improving the study design. B. Changing the study module. C. Increasing the sample size. Or D. Increasing the precision. So the answer for this question is A. Improving the study design, because increasing the sample size and increasing the precision is for random error. Okay, these are for the random error. See the information given in this chart. We have spoken regarding this chart previously also, regarding the random error and also the systematic error. From our question, it is asked over here that systematic error can be minimized by what? We have taken that by improving the study design, you can minimize the systematic error, which has been given over here. As I told previously also that this has been asked as a question. Even the blanket statement, as I told, that random error can be minimized by increasing the sample size and by increasing the precision. So this is a question, this is a question, and this itself is a question. So please remember this slide, the question and the answer for this question. Then next question. Which of the following is wrong regarding the confounders? The options are A. Affects both the study variables and study outcomes. B. Affects the independently the outcome. C. The confounders can be minimized by proper study design. Or D. Statistical analysis will take care of the confounding. So what is wrong regarding confounding? Second one, that is the effect independently the outcome is wrong regarding confounding. Okay, because This affect independently the outcome comes under effect modifiers. It is for the effect modifiers, not for confounders. So the answer for this question is option number B. Now let us revise this slide again regarding the confounders and also regarding the effect modifiers. Confounders affect both the study variables and as well as the outcomes. Then the effect of confounders can be minimized by how? By proper study designing and through stratified analysis. So in our question, this has been as given as an option, this is given as an option, study variable as an option, as well as the outcome is also as an option. See over here that it affects both the study variables and study outcomes. Yes, this is a true statement. It is by minimized by proper study design. It is also a true statement, and statistical analysis will also take care of confounding. So all these three things are mentioned in the confounders part. So we got the answer for our question, that the wrong statement pertaining to confounders is that the effect independently the outcome, which is actually belonging to effect modifiers. See the second part of this slide regarding the effect modifiers. Okay, so please remember this chart, the question and also the answer for this question. Next question: what is a confounding variable in a research study? The options are A, a variable that is controlled by the researcher; B, a variable that is no effect on the outcome; C, a variable that influences both the independent and the dependent variables, potentially distorting the results; and D, a variable that is the primary focus of the study. So confounding variable. What is the answer? The answer is number C, that is a variable that influences both the independent and the dependent variables, potentially distorting the results. Next question. A researcher conducted a study to know the efficacy of a new chemotherapeutic agent among mice with the renal cell carcinoma. So what type of research is this? The options are A, translational research; B, bedside research; C, bedside research; or D, implementation research. Mice, animal. Okay, so when I told you, whenever you are using an animal or an organism, you should take bedside research into consideration. This is the answer. Next question. What is the type of research that takes the evidence-based interventions in tobacco cessation for taking informed policy decisions? So the options are A, bedside research; B is bedside research; C is implementation research; and D is translational research. So what is the intervention? Intervention is tobacco cessation. Okay, so you are implementing something. So this is a implementation research. Okay. Let us start the next question. A researcher proposed a novel research question. The question is, what are the differences in the full genome structure of SARS-CoV-2 variant? So which of the following is the scope of this type of research? The options are A, getting new information; B, verifying the available information; C is confirming the available information; or D, explaining the cause and effect relationship. So which of the following is the scope of this research? Getting new information in this regard is the scope of this research. Next question. What is the scope of research in which the occurrence of one event is followed by the occurrence of a subsequent event? So the options are again A, getting new information; B, verifying the available information; C, confirming the available information; and D, explaining the cause and effect relationship. So if this question is asked in the examination, the answer will be D, explaining the cause and effect relationship. Let us try to understand the explanation of cause and effect relationship. See, once again, let us see the question. Then what is the scope of research in which the occurrence of one event is followed by occurrence of a subsequent event? Now, one such example is the HIV infection. Thus, the presence of a particular co-receptor, which is called as a cause, on a CD4 cells protect against the HIV infection, which is the effect. So this is one example of cause and effect relationship. Second example is that using a breast implant, can it cause breast cancers? So the breast implant is the cause and breast cancers are the effect. So this is another example. So with these two examples, please understand regarding the cause and effect relationship, the question and also the answer for this question. Okay. Next question. What is the type of study that uses only the information recorded in the past? So the options are A. Retrospective, B. Prospective, C. Randomized control trial or randomized clinical trial. D is the ambispective study. So what is the type of study that uses only the information recorded in the past? It is the retrospective study. Prospective is future. Now see over here. Retrospective study, prospective study and ambispective study. All these three comes under cohort study. Okay. Under cohort study you have all these three components: retrospective, prospective and ambispective. Whereas the randomized clinical trial, they come under experimental studies. Experimental studies. Cohort study in the sense this is nothing but analytical studies. Okay. Cohort study come under analytical studies. Now see over here. This is regarding the types of cohort studies. See this chart carefully. Three types are there. It is prospective study, retrospective study and ambispective study. In our question they have asked what is the type of study that uses only the information recorded in the past. So it is the retrospective study, because what is happening in retrospective study is your study is starting over here where you have the outcome is over here. Okay, so your study is starting over here, you are going in this direction actually. So this is called as a retrospective study, what has happened in the past. Okay, now in prospective study your study is starting over here, so from exposure to the outcome it is called as prospective study. Ambispective goes both the ways, so it is a type of hybrid type of cohort study between prospective and retrospective, so this is called as ambispective study. So please remember this point, that going backwards is always called as retrospective type of cohort study. Going forwards is called as prospective study or prospective type of cohort study. So please remember this chart, the question and also the answer for this question. Okay. Then next question. What is another term used for random error? The options are A. Bias, B. Chance, C. Instrumental error or D. Systematic error. The answer is B. Chance. Chance is another term used for random error. Next question. It is a repetitive question. How can systematic errors be minimized? The options are A. By increasing the sample size, B. By increasing the precision, C. By calibrating the instrument, or D. By stratification. So the answer is C. By calibrating the instrument. So by calibrating the instrument, systematic errors can be minimized. Next question. What is the term used to denote a small scale study with minimal study participants which examines the feasibility of the procedures intended to be performed in the main study? The options are A. Pilot study, or B. Pre-testing, or C. Case study, or otherwise D. Cohort study. It is very simple answer. The answer is A. Pilot study. So pilot study is used to denote a small scale study with minimal study participants. Okay. Then next question. Choose whether the following statement is true or false. Inclusion and exclusion criteria should be mutually exclusive. The options are A. True or otherwise false. What is the answer? It is definitely true. Last question. What is a term used to denote a variable that can alter the relationship between the study variable and the outcome by independently affecting the outcome? It is called as, directly I will tell the answer, it is effect modifier. The other options they gave are confounders, intervening variable, outcome variable. Effect modifiers, you please remember that a variable that can alter the relationship between the study variable and the outcome by independently affecting the outcome. If this sentence or these three words are there in the sentence, then you go for effect modifier. Now let us once again revise regarding confounders and also the effect modifiers. Okay, so in the effect modifiers it is clearly mentioned that it can alter the relationship between the study variable and outcome by independently affecting only the outcome. Okay, please remember this point, independently affecting only the outcome it is mentioned. So then it is effect modifiers. Whereas in confounders they affect both the variables as well as the outcomes. So from our question, the question itself was asking that What is the term used to denote a variable that can alter the relationship between the study variable and the outcome by independently affecting the outcome only? So then it is called as an effect modifier. So this has been confirmed from this chart. So I request all the students who are giving the examination to please become perfect with what are confounders and what are effect modifiers and get well versed with this chart. So please remember the question and also the answer for this question. So with this we complete the first assignment or the chapter number 1, that is introduction to the health research. Thank you.